No. And there's
I
think it might be the Michael Keaton one, or it could be Clooney, where he says, "I'm the Batman."
I'm trying to figure out which one. I think that was Clooney. We kind of had that weird gap in the early 90s where there was like a lot of Batmans.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, there was like 4 of them that just kind of peppered in there right before we got like a real series.
Christian Bale.
God, the Christian Bale ones?
The suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians, and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got Winnie Bucks!
No, those voices y'all heard, that's Kelly Campbell and Peter Strauss. Welcome back to another episode of Stoned Appetit. With your host, as always, it's me, Kip. Chris was supposed to be here today, but he literally got called into jury duty this morning. So while we enjoy delicious foods and coffees at probably the hippest place in the Highlands neighborhood, for sure, we're coming to you from Nurture. It's on the corner right there at Spear and Federal, and it's a wellness, I'm going to call it like a center, but they'll be able to describe it best. And so our guests here today are the co-owners, and I guess the founders are the people that came up with the concept of the Nurture building. And so Kelly, Peter, thank y'all so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Stoked to be here with you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
9 a.m. We should have gotten tours before this, y'all. We should have done it. But at the same time, we're going to have a lot of fun. You know, y'all have a really great concept over here. For those, especially in our community, they all seem like we care about our bodies a little bit more than where I came from, like in Mississippi. Shout out to there. But y'all have a really great idea and concept in this building, and so I wanted to kind of get y'all on the podcast to learn a little bit more about it, because I don't think everybody knows that this place exists. But before we get into this episode, I do need to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Speaking of new companies that exist in the Denver area, Callie's Cannabis has opened their 3rd location. They now have one on Kenosha Court and 8th Avenue. So for those that are in the mid-city, it's a little blue-collar of a vibe. And then they have their new location at 31st and Larimer, home to some of the best commercial flower you can get in Denver. That's my personal opinion, not anything testimonial, or actually, I think the term would be objective. But check them out. It's calliescannabis.com, or check them out on Instagram at shopcallies, SHOPPE Callies. They have great weed, great deals, something every single day of the week. As we record on Wednesdays, it's Wax Wednesday. As you listen to this, it could be a Thursday, so it's 15% off vapes. And then every Friday, they have deals on flowers. So swing on through any of the locations. They're all across the Front Range, and we're excited to have them on the team. All right, back to the episode, guys. That was a great ad read by me. We like to start every episode kind of the same way. We just kind of want to break the ice. And we're going to start with ladies first. Kelly.
Sure.
Are you a transplant or a native of Colorado?
I'm a native.
Oh, really?
I am.
Did you ever leave or never want to?
I like to consider Denver a home base, and always will be a home base. I've left the nest for months at a time, if you will, but Denver, I think, or the Denver area, Colorado at least, will always be home base. I think it's a great place. Great people, great adventures, and yeah, I love Colorado.
I mean, I get it. There's no reason to leave. You get a little bit of everything. From Denver, you get the city, and then you get the mountains whenever you want. And like you said, you can go gallivant and goof off, and then maybe kind of pick ideas, cherry pick brains, from other parts of the country, and bring those ideas back to Colorado. Stew on that, because
other parts of the world, my friend.
Oh, really? Is this a worldly idea? Okay, I dig it.
Why not?
And then Peter, are you a transplant or native yourself?
I am a transplant.
There we go.
I'm a born and bred New Yorker. So, yeah. Grew up
Are you talking like city?
Yeah,
concrete
I'm
jungle?
actually from Manhattan.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, born and raised in Manhattan. That's usually when people, kind of take a step back and look at me kind of funny. And
Yeah,
it's like, really?
I mean, as someone that's wearing a plaid shirt and sneakers and shorts, you just don't, Born and bred, when did you come to Colorado?
I moved here 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I lived in Colorado for a couple of years after college. I lived in the Aspen Snowmass area.
Were you ski bumming?
I was a ski instructor.
Okay, making that like $7 an hour and just partying.
It was great. I loved it. And I think, and then I moved back to New York to, kind of take a grown-up job, and I left part of me in Colorado and always wanted to come back. And so 20 years later, I'm back.
Grown-up job.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the next question is oftentimes when we sit down with the guests is, how did we get into this business? But I think we need to start with a little bit backtrack. What is it we do? What do we do? Do we create concepts? What did we do that before we did nurture? How did we get into this industry? So you mentioned you took we'll call it an adult job because I like to think of Colorado as Neverland. You don't ever have to grow up. Kelly, how about you? How did you find yourself creating this, I guess, brainchild, things of this nature? I don't even know what to describe this place. A palace.
Ooh, a palace. I like that.
It's like a granola palace.
Sure.
We call it a well-care marketplace, but I like Palace.
I like Granola Palace.
Granola Palace is awesome.
Coolest granola palace I've ever seen.
You're welcome.
Biased.
Yeah.
I'm biased, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the, I guess, the industry that leads you into this business?
Sure. Yeah, I've been in hospitality for 15 years. I love serving people and building community. And I believe no matter where you are in the world and whatever culture or community, city, town, breaking bread is one way that I think resonates with everybody. And so bringing that piece into nurture, having, Nest as sort of the heart of the palace, if you will, is where my background comes from. And then I've dabbled a bit, which is represented within this palace as well, as far as the retail and the wellness goes. I am a licensed massage therapist, and I had a studio in the Highlands for a couple of years. And so wellness and community and nourishing our bodies are all things that I'm really passionate about. And so a place like this allows me to not have to stay steadfast on just one thing, but really allows me to be able to be passionate about all of these things all under one roof with people that share, the same values. So.
Yeah, and it really is great because it's almost like a one-stop shop. Like you mentioned, you don't necessarily not get bored of it or something like that,
Yeah.
but you can do a fucking like workout class, or you could come in here for acupuncture one day and then just be, hanging out with and eat dank lunch, and then or come later in the afternoon, work out, and then have a glass of wine after, and just enjoy the space.
That's right.
So it is a really great idea, and I can kind of see how you were able to pull a little bit of working in hospitality, working in the health and wellness, and then just being a people person and bubbly. It kind of all plays well into that. So how'd you find this fucker from New York?
This guy.
I found her.
Yeah, he snagged me. Actually, working for Juan Padre from Culinary Creative, I worked for Juan for 7 years. And while working for Juan, Peter and Juan were friends from New York. And long story short, Peter, started sharing the seed that he was starting to plant around this idea of a marketplace. At the time, we were kind of talking more about beauty and fitness and things like that. And then I was like, Peter, you haven't said food. What about food? And so we just started meeting for coffee and going for walks and really just exploring the idea. And that was 3+ change years ago. And so we just started as friends that, shared, like-minded interests around this concept. And now here we are.
Yeah. And so, Peter, I'm going to kick the ball over to you real quick. Where did the concept of wanting to create this, you've seen the food halls of America have taken over. Was this a New York inspired thing? Was, we joke about they're trying to bring Soho House to Denver and they're trying to do this and that. Was this a concept that had been flourishing in other communities you had visited and you're like, Denver is lacking this? Or how did the brainchild come to be for you?
Yeah, no, actually, we hadn't really seen anything like this before, but I
definitely haven't.
Yeah, so my career I spent in tech, actually, and it was about 2016, 2017, and I was leaving my last kind of corporate job and trying to figure out, now
I can't do this anymore.
What am I supposed
You
to
can
do?
say whatever the fuck you want.
Now what the fuck am I supposed to do? And so I was just looking at a whole bunch of different business ideas and thinking about, maybe I might buy a business or franchise a business. And one of the businesses that I looked at franchising was one of those salon studios where the hairstylists each have their own little suite. And I was thinking about franchising a brand that wanted to come to the Denver market. And I thought, all right, well, it's kind of cool, but it could certainly be a lot cooler. And then I started to sort of cultivate this idea, and that was when I reconnected with Kelly, and like she was just explaining, and the idea kind of germinated from there. And then, we took inspiration from great places in town like Stanley Market, Avanti Food and Beverage, Denver Central Market, these multi-vendor kind of food halls and marketplaces, and took that idea, that combined with co-working, to create Nurture, the WellCare marketplace. And so, the idea
Granola Palace.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll get the marketing people to start updating our collateral. And so, the basic idea was to really deliver taking care of yourself in a way that's more consistent with how we all like to live our lives. The reality is we all like all the things. We all like to take good care of ourselves, try to keep fit, strive to become the best versions of ourselves possible.
While having fun.
And we also all like a good cocktail and like to enjoy ourselves and relax. And that's just what it means to just be a whole human, right? And so that's why kind of the tagline of the business is home for the whole human. And so, we wanted to create an environment that was really welcoming and inviting and accepting and comfortable to people, rather than people having to worry about, am I wearing the right yoga pants to go to that yoga studio? And, look, I think spas are great, but it's more of a luxury. And, we think that taking care of yourself should be just like getting the oil changed on your car.
Yeah, and y'all, that's a great way to kind of think of it as well. Like you've brought kind of the best of all of these worlds, but you also made it approachable and accessible to everybody. We joked about the Soho House and these spas, but you can come in to Nurture free of charge and just sit here and grind out some work with a cup of coffee. Obviously, that would be like $1.99 or whatever, but that's the thought. And I feel like we're only 10 minutes in and we're starting to get to know y'all. Well, let's talk a little bit about Nurture. You mentioned it's all under one roof, all of these different vendors. Let's talk real quick, just a quick overview. Who the fuck's in here and who's partying? What all can we do for the listeners that are like, oh shit, what does it all entail? Give us a quick, brief rundown.
So Nurture is 2 floors. So downstairs are kind of the bigger chunks of our programming. So there's our cafe called Nest, which is a clean, conscious cafe of wonderful, delicious, organic food. Our event space called 9, where we host a whole variety of events that we're actually sitting in right now.
Dude, this room's awesome. Very big. So this could be like rehearsal dinner, perfect kind of style.
Absolutely.
Have dinner in here. Mm-hmm. And then obviously y'all have a dank-ass food program, so would y'all be able to cater to that?
Yeah.
100%.
As we get into wedding season, just want to plug that for our friends out there.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. But it is gnarly. This room's sick. I was telling Devin when I walked in, I was like, yeah, this is one of the prettier places we've recorded.
Yeah. Tons of natural light, plants. You have the beautiful St. Dominic's Church to the south here. It's beautiful.
To the south. When you say it like that, it's like, if you look here to the Mount Rainier.
About 10 feet.
Yeah, we do yoga classes, private luncheons, baby shower, all kinds of events in here, and we cater them from the restaurant.
Nice.
So, and then also downstairs we've got 4 retail shops. So one of our partners that I'm sure we'll talk about, Gravity House, they have their retail shop here, and then we have Color Up, a CBD brand that has a little retail shop here, and then a plant shop. And we also have 2 fitness studios downstairs, one of which is Gravity House / Dryland, and the other which is a Nurture fitness studio. And we also have drop-off childcare. So, because part of being a whole human is having kiddos, and it's really hard to come in. It's really hard to take care of yourself if you don't have somewhere, trusted that you can leave your kid for a while, so you can go take care of yourself for a bit. So that's downstairs, and then upstairs they're about.
That's just 1 floor.
Yeah, that's just
holy shit.
Floor.
Y'all
floor
really
1.
do have almost everything under one roof.
Yeah,
except for Pizza Hut.
And then upstairs there's 35 offices of
Like business offices?
Yeah.
Like people like grinding it out while y'all are down here having fun?
Those are the provider offices.
Oh, okay.
So upstairs we have everything.